Hello everyone, I'm Phantom2502 and welcome back to another episode of my Satisfactory Let's Play update for episode 36. This episode, I ended up having, from last episode, noticing I had real power issues and had to basically do a bunch of pipe work to get that fixed and flowing right, because when we expanded our power last time, we had out of 600 water and 2 pipes of 300 each going towards our coal generators. It was starting to use 585, and that was actually because things weren't completely even or completely just right. It was having issues, and I was starting to see like drop off of 3 or 4 of those coal generators at a time sometimes. It seems like pipes and water flow are a lot more complicated than I thought originally. So I'm going to walk through this episode and show you guys some of the things I discovered and maybe some things to fix. Things when you have like almost full demand with full supply. Now, I don't know what would happen if I had needed 600 and 600. Like, I'm only consuming 585 and I have 600 being generated, so I have a little bit of error there. But at least I'm getting close. And right now, I think it's just one generator that's kind of on and off, as you can see from here, and mostly on right now. And I think it's just like that because it's still trying to feed in the water at the moment. And that one generator is just like the one that everything else kind of needs to fill up first, I guess. Best way to explain it. Alright, we had some hard drives, so let's do that. Stitched iron plate is good. Also, polyester fabric, that's the only way to automate fabric. Crystal computer I don't think's that good. Stitched iron plate. Because I know that one I think is good. Because you can do iron wire. You know what, we're in our new build. We're going to need some of these, so might as well get that one. Alright, then... okay, I need 50. Plastic. I also went and got some more caterium and some more sulfur while off screen. Alright, let's unlock the high-speed connectors. Alright, what's next? Computers, that needs high speed and computers and AI limiters, okay. This one's not unlockable either until we have high speed connectors done. Alright, so that's it for there. Still don't have enough for that. Power slugs, no. Sulfur? Yes. Circuit boards we don't have, neither with heavy industrial. This one we can... not quite yet, because I don't have enough black powder. Alright. Well, I guess maybe we can get some this episode and come back here after. Let's put a hard drive in. There we go. Alright. So let me show you guys some of the things I've done to try and fix my power issues and make things go even. So it seems like water really likes going down and doesn't like going up. So as you notice, I've now put these kind of storage containers up here versus down here, so that the pipes from the storage containers weren't going up, but kind of always going in a downward shape. Even from here, it's slightly down. So when it's going down into it, it will never go up that way. It will only go one direction, but if it's even, it can go both ways. and that can mess up some of your flow. So as you see here, it's a nice steady 300, 301, 299 kind of thing. And same with this one over here. The fill rate isn't perfect right now, but it's much better, much more consistent than it was. Before, when I had these two further down, because this pipe was on top of this pipe up above, this one was taking priority and was always 300. Well, this one was like not getting fed fully, which would drain some of these things down. Now they're being brought in evenly because I've done some changes up above that I'll show you guys. But so also keeping them even. As you see, these ones, because I had 3 on the end and I didn't come in far enough, it wasn't going to the end nest, because they try to, if it's even, it'll split 3 ways evenly. If it's going down, it'll choose the down one before it fills the side ones. So basically I've tried to use a bunch of valves. So this goes on down and then even. So tried this one. So that is 300 going in, and then I split it. And also this makes it one direction now. And then I have another 3 on each side. Now I had just 2. I was going to set these to like 92 because they need 90, but I decided to set 15 to work with, give them a little bit extra. So 92 a piece. And what was happening is, because I didn't put one here also, it wasn't even seeing the 92, even though if you split it into 3, it's way more than that. It looks like when you split and put valves on 2 and not the other, or keep the other only at like 300, it will actually use, this can go 300, this was now 90, that's now 90, and it will now split 3 ways based on those ratios. So these things weren't even getting 90, even though split in 3 evenly from 300 would be 100 each. You think it would be even? No, this was operating at, it would be 90 plus 90 plus 300, so it would be like 480 total going in each direction, and then it would be like fractions of that, whatever the ratio was of 90 of over 480, and then you would see it that it was like, closer to like 70 something or whatever that ends up being. So whenever I put this one here and then put it into 115, then I started seeing max line of almost everything, of course, except when we have fluctuations like that. But so you do need the 3 like that. That's the same thing for like down here, like since this was even before going down and this is even, it'll try to split into 2. If you only put 1 here, so this would, and clamp it down, so let's say it's 45, 46, but don't put 1 over here, well, it's now going to have a 300 to 45 like ratio kind of thing, but which is not what you want, and it wouldn't be an even ratio, which is not what you want. So you have to put 1 on both sides, and you have to put the right ratio in. So there I put the 6.9, and then it does the good ratio on both sides. The biggest part of it that really needed it, since I have this long pipe and I have water coming in from that way and from this way, if you don't do, where is it? This part is very important. So this is my middle one. I have 13 generators. This is my middle one. There's 6 on that side, 6 on this side. Water comes from this way and from that way. If you don't put valves on both sides here, this one going this way and this one going this way, you'll have crossover, and that was part of the major problem I was having. So this side will split this way and keep going this way and have backflow, and this one will cross to that side and keep going this way. And what that will do is it will backflow onto both sides and then make it so that your inputs think things are full down here, even though the cold generators aren't getting everything, and you get wasted water. So make sure that when you have flow that's coming one way and another way on a pipe and they meet somewhere, that you make sure you put valves on each side so that you don't get flow crossing that boundary. And right now the one that's turning on and off is this one. Obviously all the other ones are ahead of it. Yeah, I hope I don't get more issues because these ones are a little lower. Maybe it's because I loaded the game. Maybe. Alright. So as you see, now I have just valves everywhere to basically put the ratios. And then this one coming in, got one going left, one coming down, one going right to make sure that ratio. Now, I don't have a 300 in this one because it has a downslope versus being even over there. So with the downslope, you're guaranteed it's not going to go backwards because water doesn't like going up. But sideways, it'll split like evenly. So let's just see. So still see 301. 301. Alright, let's make our way back up and I'll show you guys what I did for the inputs. And also those fluid buffers, adding those things in a lot of places allows you to distribute evenly, because I noticed that the coal generators and the water extractors, they don't just run at a constant 45 rate or a constant 120 rate. It like fluctuates up and down, but the pipes are exactly 300 maximum. So by putting those fluid buffers in at select spots, it allows you, if you have fluctuations on one side, it allows you to even it out on the other side. So I find them very useful in that case. So it seems like putting fluid buffers definitely helps, but fluid buffers have to be like, you know, all the pipes, you always want to go downhill for the most part. All right, let's get a hard drive. That's what I'm here for. Oh, 2 minutes. Alright, I guess I can... Let's go get some sulfur then. Maybe I can unlock that too. It gets dark in this game. There we go. I'll eventually automate the sulfur and deuterium, but I want to get the oil stuff set up first. As you see, I did change this stuff a little bit too. So I brought these two up here because these things were coming up and then down. I didn't like that, so now it's even then down. As you know, it comes from an up direction. This one still has a down direction, but that's not as much of an issue because right after goes way up, and that's a lot higher, so it actually doesn't have much flow issues because of that. The pipe will try to find like the absolute lowest place. Okay. We should be able to do hard drive now. Oh, 5 seconds. Very close. Alright. Polyester fabric. No, fused wire's not any good. Steel screw's not any good. Okay, we'll get the polyester fabric because it's the only way to automate that, gas mask, gas filters, and iodide filters later. So, alright. Another hard drive. Alright. Make some more black powder. So we can do some unlocks later. almost there. Alright, that'll be enough when we need it. 8 minutes? Alright. So now I'll show you the extractor changes I did, because I know it's part of the problem why I wasn't getting stuff wasn't just because of how the pipes were set up, but how the pipes were set up near the extractors. It was making it the extractors shutting off, even when they shouldn't have been, and actually producing less than 600, because pipes would do damage. So as you see, I did change this part entirely. So we used to have this split and then connected to both these pipes here on this side. But what that would do is, since it was flowing, this pipe actually has a little bit of a downward trend. You can kind of see it. So when it would get to here, since this was coming down, it would actually split evenly, or split maybe a little more to this side. I'm not sure if it was even to this side. But some of it would backflow through here and actually make it so that this water extractor filled up and stopped working, I'd say a third of the time, which was kind of insane. Also, when it would pump, it would prefer the bottom one because it's lower than the top one. So that's why the bottom one was always splitting the 300, but the top one was very inconsistent on what it was getting. So what I did a few different things, but one of the big things you need to do, so these ones have like 240 coming in each from the other side. This one's supposed to be 120 split into 60 and go to both. What you need to do is make it go above both the pipes you want to merge into before doing the split. Alright? Otherwise, both these pipes were coming into it and backing this up. So by bringing this up higher than them and then splitting them and bringing them back down, that allowed none of the 240 that were going through to come up and block this machine. Now, originally I had just put it up and then split it, came down, but what I noticed there was it would split unevenly, not 60-60, but prefer going to the lower pipe compared to the top pipe. And I was getting similar issues, although not as bad because at least this was running all the time. So I ended up putting some fluid buffers in at the top here to even things out. So as you notice, adding a fluid buffer at the highest point right after the extractor seems to be a good thing, because as you see here, it's not just flow rate of 120 constant. Even though it says 120 per minute, it's going between 100 and 140, right? The thing is, these pipes max at 300, only 300, and if you have exact amount going through, because of that wobble, it can overflow these pipes and then have spaces where they're at 300 or like under 300 and not a 300 consistent. So bringing it up to the highest point that it's going to be and then putting a fluid buffer helps even that out. Because then the fluid buffer, at least when it's low, it can use the buffer, and when it's high, it can fill up the buffer. As you see, it will do kind of a weird one side or the other side. Now I ended up putting valves here too, because as you see, this is a down pipe as well, and this is a slide down pipe, and I did not want the fluid buffer to go bi-directional. So by putting this valve here, it makes sure that this is only going to come up here to here. Now, since this is going downwards, it's better to have a downwards pipe than an even pipe. I find that it drains better. So this one comes down, and then I have it splitting on an even surface between two pipes to try and do that 60-60. Now, it doesn't quite do it. As you see, this sometimes has low-high, but it does like a fluctuation and kind of evens out. I haven't put strict valves on it, and so far these pipes have been pretty much at 300, so I haven't thought of needing it. Anyways, putting those a little bit lower than that flip buffer, because I did this so that it doesn't prefer bottom or top. It's like, okay, gotta be even, hit something, and now it's not going to be looking at that split, because these things are an even level, hopefully to split evenly, and then these ones will now both come down and have a fluid buffer each. These ones I did not put ratios in. Also, I put valves over here so these two don't go backwards in this direction and stop things that way. Now, I also put ones here so these ones don't go up. These shouldn't have gone up anyways. Anyway, this one's buggy. This one always says 0 flow rate all the time, even though it definitely isn't, because if I go here, okay, maybe not that one. Alright, well, interesting. Maybe I still have water issues. Who knows? This one's running 100% also. These ones always seem to be 300 though. Yeah. Anyway, I know this one's buggy at 0 like all the time, but it's not 0. Alright, so remember from extractors, always bring it to the highest point. If you're going to split it between two pipes like this, split evenly with another two buffers and then bring them in. Because if you split them, otherwise it could always prefer the lower one, and if you don't bring it up high first before bringing it down, it's going to prefer, it's going to back up to your system and not run. So this is now running 100%, which is good. We're going to go unlock another hard drive, and then I'll show you the 5 extractor part setup, because I put some buffers in there too. Let's just look at power again. Alright, we're still looking at 1200 and 1125. So alright. I think there's obviously maybe some work to do there because it's not perfect, but my setup. But we're going to be improving it to a Mark II pipe at some point there, and we got enough power for now to be fine. Okay. I don't think the steel rotor is any good. This one is good. The heavy encased frame's actually quite good. Turbo heavy fuel, I mean, at least it gives you turbo fuel, but it's not the best recipe. Go with heavy encased frame. That's a very good recipe. Right, sulfur. Pipes and rubber. There we go. couple cartridges, and then another hard drive. And we'll probably end this episode a little over the 35, 36, probably around the 36-minute mark, because I want to finish those hard drives, because obviously I'm going to be doing a lot of construction between episodes, especially I'm going to build and then show you guys the results now instead of doing live builds, because they're starting to be big builds, and it's just a little boring to just do it all on screen and have you guys just do a whole bunch and then show you guys the results and what the splits are. I think the better way to do it. So, alright. Take the pipe. So as you can see from my setup over here, I now have each extractor coming into its own buffer and then combining two at a time over here. As you see from the buffer, each of them, it comes up to a buffer to the high point, and then each buffer has a downwards and then connection. I don't have any valves on this side, because I don't have to worry about this going back up that way or this coming back up this way, because water wants to go down. It doesn't. So I don't have to worry about it going that way, because it won't. It'll go that way all the time. And same with this one. So they will combine fine. As you see, and as I said, it moderates the flow of each extractor, because those extractors have like that wobble. So having these fluid systems, these fluid buffers, mitigate that wobble, make the flow more consistent. Even though the drain rate and the flow rate doesn't really seem like it is doing that, but it is. Alright, on this side, as you notice, it goes down that way, but it also could be down this way. So in order to prevent from the buffer to go down both ways, because I want to only go that way, on this side I have valves for all four of them, to make sure that it does not go from the buffer and back up any of these extractors, so that these extractors hopefully are running all the time. Well, obviously once all the buffers that I have fill up, it should not be working all the time, because it's obviously 600 producing 585 consuming. So, but there's got a lot of buffers, so that won't happen for a while, hopefully. And let me just see if any of these are actually backing up. No, definitely not there. Nope. And no either. Okay. So now all of them are running at 600, at 120 piece all the time. I'm not getting any backup like I was. So that means my inconsistencies in my system at the moment is hopefully temporary, and hopefully due to the buffers not being consistent on its flow, its drain rate. As you see, it like drains at weird amounts. So I think sometimes you can just get like an air bubble or something, and that affects it. But as these things keep producing and these buffers fill up, as you see, these buffers are lower than these ones, which is interesting. And the only reason I can see for that is because these ones go into a lower pipe than those ones. very weird, but that seems to be a difference, even though they're both going downwards, because this one's going more down. That buffer's at a different, those two buffers are at a different level than the other two buffers. Like, water seems to be a lot more complicated now that I'm looking at it than I ever thought it was when it was in update 3. And the reason why we're discovering it this early is because power generation now consumes everything. So it's consuming max, or almost max. And as I said, I'm not even at max. It's like I got 15 water wiggle room. Hopefully over time that 15 extra keeps filling up all of my buffers. But so yes, make sure if you're having issues with like full supply, full demand, look into putting in fluid buffers at the top spot and making sure pipes are draining down and using valves. And if you're splitting off with ratios, making sure there's valves on each side with the proper ratios. It seems to be very important with water once you're got like almost peak supply, peak demand on a pipe. And it definitely helps. As I said, I don't know if my fluctuations at the moment, because it doesn't seem like I'm getting exactly all of it downstream, but I'm wondering whether it's because the buffers aren't full and I'm getting some fluctuations due to that. So that is, I think, going to be my episode for fixing pipes. We're just going to get the extra hard drive so that I can do that on screen and hopefully have an extra recipe to work with. A little bit, 2 minutes. Alright, I've got some things coming into my sink now. So now I have cable, rebar, and plates. Coming in my sink. We're starting to make tickets. 400 or 500 points a minute. Increase this from a level 1 to level 2 because it's 15 rebar, 20 plates, that's 35, and 30 cable, so at least I think it's 30 cable. Not sure actually. Might just be 10, 50. Yeah, we're using 50 cable. I think we're making 60, so I think it's just 10 cable. Yeah, so I guess 45, but I thought it was 30, that's why I improved it to... Oh, I guess maybe it didn't improve it to level 2. I thought I did. Oh well, my bad. Alright. When are you going to finish? So, as of next episode, it'll be the same thing that I was planning on for this one originally. So right now I'm just going to get all of the in the oil section we're going to make the heavy industrial frames, we're going to make the computers, make the modular engine and circuit boards, and then have that transport over here using our existing tractor system. The reason why we're going to build all that there, and especially having modular frame, could have been on this side, but it's got some iron stuff over there, and I want the higher end items that use it, like the adaptive control unit, to stay over there, so that I'm using the tractor / train system later to transport from oil areas the least amount possible, because oil multiplies by 3 into plastic and rubber, and I don't want to transport tons of item to keep the item limit low once I have a mega base. So by putting it into higher items first, there's less of them to transport. Alright, now what do I want? That's useless. I think the bolted iron plate's useless, and we got the stitched one, which is better. So let's get the turbo heavy fuel. This one isn't the best recipe. The one with the diluted, the fuel one's better, but at least it allows us to get turbo fuel, which is good. Alright, we'll put another hard drive on. And that will be the end of the episode. Thanks for watching. I hope this episode was more informative. Hopefully it helps you deal and fix some of your pipe issues, like why isn't this working. Hopefully it gives you some ideas to try and fix your system. And as I say, mine's not 100% at the moment, but at least I'm getting now like 585 out of 600, when before doing these things I was really only getting, like, I was losing 3 generators instead of 1 consistently. So I was really only getting maybe 500 out of 600 instead of, maybe at the moment I'm probably getting like 575 out of 600. So these little things make a difference. I'm Phantom 2502, and thanks for watching. Please join me next time. Bye bye.